Company being analyzed today is Vintage Coffee and Beverages Limited. Today, we're going to analyze the company's financials, what it actually does, and future expansion and outlook. So, let us start. So, first, we have a market cap of 2,167 crores. So, pretty small to mid cap company, borderline. Current price of one share, 167 rupees. The price to earnings ratio of 36. A high return on capital employed, sorry, decent return on capital employed, ROCE 15.4%, and a decent ROE, return on equity of 17%, book value, that is the net asset value per share of 40.4 rupees. Now comes the profit and loss of the company from 2022 all the way to 2025. Here we have sales, we have operating profit margin, and at the very most bottom, the black number being net profit. So in 2022, the company reported sales of 37 CR. We move all the way to 2024. The company reported sales of 141 CR. And finally, in fiscal year 2025, the company reported sales of 309 crores, operating profit of 53 crores, operating profit and EBITDA are same, operating profit margin of 17%. Remember that in mind, keep that in mind, and profit after tax of 40 CR. Okay. And in percentages terms, the sales growth in the last 3 years has been a compounded 104%. 104%. TTM, trailing 12 months, previous 12 months, 120%. Compounded profit growth over the last 3 years has been 73%, and last 12 months, the previous 12 months, 202%. Okay, so let's go to the cash flows. How good are the cash flows? It's not good. Cash flow from operating activity in 2022 was minus 27 crores. In 2023 was 11 crores positive. Then the next 2 years, negative, negative. So cash flows is not a company's strong suit. Now, what does the company actually do? Here we have the range of products. This company is selling coffee to other companies. It's not selling coffee directly to customers, from what I understand, but it's selling coffee to other companies. It's a business to business, B2B company. So it's selling instant coffee, spray dried instant coffee, agglomerated instant coffee. This has better profit margins, and instant chicory or shikari, which is an ingredient used in coffee. Okay. Then not only is it just selling instant coffee, it's also selling packages, consumer packages to these companies, sachets, corrugated boxes, pouches, tins, and instead of just selling coffee in bulk, which it does, it has also started selling these coffees in small packages, which fetches better margins, so more profitable with these patches. So two products, instant coffee plus the packaging for that coffee. These are the products of the company. Now, the instant coffee market. Coffee is the second most consumed beverage in the entire world. Okay. In 2025, the entire instant coffee market is estimated to be around $122.2 billion. And the global market is important for vintage coffee. When discussing vintage coffee's financials and outlook, future outlook, globally, global markets are very important, not just Indian markets. Global markets are more important. Keep that in mind. And by 2028, the market is set to reach $139 billion. 7.19% is a CAGR, the growth for the entire industry. Now, moving even forward, their vision is to become the top supplier of soluble coffee in the industry. Okay. Now, important stuff, more important stuff. What is their production capacity? So, spray dried and agglomerated instant coffee capacity is 6,500 MT per year. Is that megatons? Is that metric tons? I'm not sure, but MT per year. Very important. 6,500. Keep that in mind. 3,000 MT per year for packaging, how much packaging they produce, and 1,700 MT per year of instant shikari. Is this metric tons or megatons? I am not sure. So this is the current capacity. Now, what is the utilization of this capacity? Now here it's written 6,500 tons per annum. So it is tons, it's metric tons. MT is metric tons. Capacity utilization, the last 4 quarters, 100% capacity utilization. Sharp rise. No? capacity is being utilized. That is very nice for efficiency purposes. Now, extremely important. The company is in the process of setting up an additional line with a capacity of 4,500 metric tons per annum and is likely to commence its production at the end of fiscal year 2026. So, to the current 6,500 tons capacity, it's adding another 4,500 tons of instant coffee capacity. When is this going to be operational? It's going to start operations by the end of fiscal year 2026. We are currently in fiscal year 2026. So massive, massive expansion. Moreover, in addition to this 4,500 tons it is adding, the company is setting up a greenfield plant, a greenfield, another project of freeze-dried coffee plant with an installed capacity of 5,000 tons per annum. So 6,500 of instant coffee right now, 4,500 it is going to be adding by end of fiscal year 2026, starting that production. And in addition to these two, we have another 5,000 tons per annum of freeze-dried coffee plant. It is starting. It has already issued purchase orders for the machinery for this new plant. So the company is aiming for massive, massive expansion. Yeah. Then capacity versus utilization. So how much was actually being produced? These are all in empty metric tons. So there has been a sharp increase. 586 tons of coffee was being made in quarter 3 fiscal year 2024, and in quarter 2 fiscal year 2026 1,648 tons of coffee was produced. Now, what are the company's current markets? Current markets are Southeast Asia, Europe, Africa, Russia, and CIS. CIS is like the post Soviet Union states, so states that used to be in the Soviet Union, but not now. Okay, those countries. So these are the current markets. And the new markets it is trying to enter are the USA, which is the number one consumer market in the world, New Zealand and Australia. So these are the current markets. These are the newer markets. Okay, then it's going to add newer markets is going to add. Moving on, revenue mix. The lighter ones are the domestic and the darker ones are the exports. You can see the company's revenue is dominated by exports. That is why the market, international market is so important for the company's outlook because exports are the massive majority of revenue. For example, in quarter 2 fiscal year 2026, 15.92 crores came from domestic, while 119.6 crores came from what? Exports. So exports are the way more important market. Then, even in these exports, where is the money actually coming from? So here we have the segmentation. We will go to quarter 2 fiscal year 2026, the most right one. So 11.74 CR comes from domestic. Is that domestic? Yes. The Russia and the CIS region, SIS, the former Soviet states contributed to 27.41 CR. Then Middle East and Africa contributed 30.67 CR. So Middle East and Africa market very important. Europe and US contributed 14 CR and Southeast Asia contributed 16 CR. So it seems pretty diversified actually. Yeah, revenue based on geography seems pretty diversified, but in terms of customer concentration, not much. Because the top five customers contribute 53% of revenue in quarter 2 fiscal year 2026, while the other customers contribute, sorry, top five customers contribute 47% of revenue, almost half, while other customers do 53. So massive top five customer concentration. Then some financial highlights you can see for the latest quarter, year on year. 154% growth in revenue, 142% growth in operating profit at EBITDA, and 143% growth in net profits. All these numbers are in crores. You can see the growth in the last 12 months alone. Then finally, we have some statements from management. So these statements are from Mr. Balakrishna Tati, who is the managing director and the chairman of Vintage Coffee and Global Limited. Here are some statements given by him for future outlook of the company. One, they're planning that in the next 3 or 4 years' time, they want to have a production facilities of around 20,000 metric tons. So from current 6,500 metric tons to 20,000 metric tons. For the revenue guidance, it's a bit more confusing. Not confusing, bit more uncertain. Why? So the statement given by him is revenue. It all depends on the revenue. It's too early for me to comment on that, but I can give you the estimation. Actually, estimation should be in the region of around maybe 2,000. Exact figures, I don't know. Now, is he meaning 2,000 crores? Because that is like 2,000 crores of revenue in the next 3 4 years is 6 times, almost more than 6 times current revenue. So he's not sure because coffee prices fluctuate a lot, and the revenue will, of course, depend on the coffee prices and do they sell bulk coffee, agglomerated coffee. So revenue depends on that. So it's a bit uncertain. But what is for certain, in the next 3 4 years' time, they want to have a production facilities of around 20,000 metric tons per annum. So either way, a lot of expansion, thrice current capacity. Then moving on. Moving on, some more statements. One good thing for investors, a good statement for investors, is that as of today, they have no plans to dilute any equity and are in fact to the freeze dried coffee also. We are raising funds to the debt route only, so we have no plans as of today for any further equity dilution. That's a good statement for investors. No further equity dilution. And finally, this. For the margin, the future margin, EBITDA margin, spray dried and freeze dried coffee, as I said, that the EBITDA levels in spray and it should be in the region of around 16 to 18%. Spray dried and freeze dried coffee as a total gives 16 to 18%. Sorry, EBITDA levels in spray dried coffee 16 to 18%, and in freeze dried coffee, the new 5,000 tons per annum plant they're establishing for should have 22 to 24%. So when the freeze dried plant, if it comes and it's produces at the full capacity, it should give a higher profit margin than the current spray dried capacity. So that is it. Vintage coffee trying to expand into the US market, other markets which have massive potential. Australia, New Zealand, USA, massive potential. It's expanding its production capacity also massively. It's looking to have better profit margins. And yeah, that is it. So bye.